Hughes of Canada gold!
Clara Hughes, the only Canadian athlete in history to win medals in both the Winter and Summer Olympic Games. It's a phenomenal achievement, especially when you consider that Clara was once on track for a very different kind of life. Growing up in Winnipeg, she was a bit of a wild teen, drugs, skipping school, smoked a pack a day. And then at 16, she saw Gaetan Boucher on TV.
And there it is, 158.36.
And she decided, hey, I want to be a speed skater. Sport provided the discipline that she needed. She trained hard as a speed skater and as a cyclist, even when her body was telling her to stop. She began to feel lonely and isolated. A two-time Olympic medalist suffering from depression.
I felt ashamed of how I looked, who I was, and it was easier not to be around people. I was really afraid and really alone.
So with the help of the national team doctor, she faced her mental health issues head on. She's gone on to win four more Olympic medals. And when the Canadian team entered BC place for the 2010 Winter Olympics, it was Clara who carried the flag. Now she's back on the bike hoping to make Canada's 2012 Olympic team. And while she shared some of her happiest moments with the country, she's now sharing the difficult ones too. She's the spokesperson for something called the Let's Talk campaign, a program designed to spark a national conversation about the realities of mental health and ending the stigma.
Many will not get the help they need because they're afraid to talk about it, and this has to change.
Clara Hughes! Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Welcome, miss. How are you?
I'm a little nervous.
Why?
Because I watch your show, and I thought I'd be in the studio audience watching it one day, and here I am on it.
Well,
so
here's where you belong.
Thank you.
We all belong here. This is a amazing thing that you're doing, but I can't imagine this. I mean, with tomorrow being the day, and you're out there really. I mean, you're talking about it, you're selling it, you're pushing it, but you're not talking about something abstract that doesn't belong to you. This is Party View.
Yeah.
So, what's the experience been like sharing all this?
Well, I mean, it began last year, and to be quite honest, I would not be a part of this unless I had something to share. And I don't feel like I'm only speaking for myself. I'm speaking for so many people I know in my life that are very close to me that are really, really struggling and haven't gotten through it like I have. It's a battle, and it's something that we do not talk about in Canada. We have, we are the third worst country in the world, in the developed industrialized world, when it comes to youth suicide. And we have yet to have a mental health plan. We're the only G8 country without that. It's coming out this year. Our federal government's coming out with it, but it's a long time coming. We have so far to go. And since last year, the first year of Let's Talk, so many Canadians have approached me and told me their stories and said thank you. More than anything I've ever done in the Olympics, this has affected people.
Could you have imagined that this would be your story, that this would be your life now?
No. And honestly, when I went through 2 years of struggling with depression, it was dark. I mean, would I turn back, and if I could change that experience and going through that and not have this story to tell, I don't know the answer to that, but
How dark?
Well, I mean, as an athlete, I was unable to do my job. I raced for 7 weeks one year and 8 weeks the next year, and spent the rest of the year in a state of darkness. And I gained weight. I slept all day. I felt like I was a complete and utter failure, and I had to fix myself before I came back into the world. I thought it was all my fault, and I didn't know what was going on until somebody told me, and there was an intervention by a doctor, and they said, you're showing all the indications of this, and you don't need to feel like you're alone. There are ways to get better.
How did you say there's an intervention? What was the process? Did you were in there for something else, or someone called you? Yeah.
It was a regular physical that we go through every year with the national team doctor. And as an athlete, I mean, there's a lot of talk in Canada about how, there's not enough support and our athletes struggle, but there are things that are there for us as athletes that aren't there for regular Canadians. And we're also taught to talk about how we feel every second of every day. How do you feel? How are you doing? Are you recovered? Are you tired? Are you this or that? So really, it was because I was in that environment that was open, and the doctor felt comfortable talking to me and approaching me with it. That was the first step in realizing that, okay, I actually do have something here. But secondly, the most important thing was I realized I didn't have to just go through it alone.
And that's what people struggle with, really. I mean, you're right. The big step is admitting to yourself that that something is wrong.
Yeah.
Or at least putting a name to what might be wrong.
Yeah.
And when you started to tell people this, how did you feel about that?
Well, I don't think I really knew what I was getting into. It seemed like the right thing to share. When I learned of Belle's campaign, and I learned it because after the Vancouver Olympics, I went across Canada, because Belle was my sponsor, sharing what the Olympics were like, being an athlete and carrying the flag and winning an Olympic medal in Canada for Canada, I guess, as Canada. And I learned about this initiative that was coming up, and I shared my story with George Cope, and he said, you know, we really want you to be a part of this. And I said, I want to be a part of this. I don't care how or why or in what capacity. I just want to help because this is important.
When you were in those moments of real darkness, you were talking about how the things that you couldn't get out of bed, you couldn't train, all that. What did it feel like? You said you felt like a failure, but what did that feel like? You know,
it just felt like a despair that it was inescapable. I could not get away from myself. I mean, it was me dealing with these emotions of just helplessness and feeling like nothing I could do was right and everything I did was wrong and I was never going to feel better and it was only going to get worse and worse and worse and I didn't know where it was going to go. It was terrifying. And it's terrifying to live with it as well, to think of, you know, it could come back and I need to be really careful, especially as an athlete. I mean, I'm still training at 39 years old, hardcore, you know, full on every single day. I push myself. I mean, I trained so hard this morning, I felt like my head was going to explode on the bike. That's how hard I have to push myself.
Well, how many 39-year-olds will you be racing against?
Well, there is a woman who, at 51 years old, came in 4th at the Beijing Olympics in my event. So, hey, I'm a spring chicken. Come on. Give me some credit here.
That's a holy cow. So at least you're going to try to pull it off. Part of the, you know, sports and illness, we use the same language all the time. We talk about beating something, becoming victorious, battling. We talk about this all the time. The challenge with something like a mental illness is that you can't always beat it. You just have to manage it. Are we using the wrong language in this conversation?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that it's a conversation that we've started and it's going to shift. And I also think it's different for every single person. For some people, it's a matter of managing it. Some people can get fixed. Some people can fix themselves. But it is totally different for each individual. And that's what I'm learning from so many people. I mean, when I flew in from Montreal this afternoon, when I was going through security in Montreal, a man approached me and he said, I want to thank you from my family. Because of this campaign, I talked to my daughter, who's 42 years old, who is depressed. And it's because of this campaign that I did that. I never would have done that. And then waiting for my bags here on the Toronto Island Airport, a man approached me and told me about his brother who's bipolar, who's coming out. He's been in again, but he's getting better. He's coming out. He's family, 3 kids. He struggles, but he pushes through. And thanking me for my role in this. And my role is so small. It's like I have this tiny story to tell, but I feel like maybe it's the first little baby step. So people can feel like, you know, if someone who's maybe successful as an athlete as I've been, and I do share the joy when I have it. I love to share the joy and the rapture. Yeah. If I can share that and I've shared my struggle, I can show people that I'm human and it's okay to be human.
It goes to show you, especially when you spend your entire life being about you and your pursuit, that your real value comes when you can work with others.
Oh, absolutely. I honestly don't know if I could still be doing this today without being involved in this campaign, first and foremost, without being involved in Right to Play.
Well, let's play a clip with Adam Vancouver when he was on the show. You just got back from the Right to Play trip in Mali, right?
Yeah, I was in Western Africa for 8 days. It was a fantastic trip.
Have you been to that part of the world?
I've been to Liberia before, which is also in Western Africa, and it's a different country for sure. They're all different. They've all got their special touch. And it was interesting. You know, it's hard to find adjectives to describe trips like this because, you know, if you go to like the Caribbean or Las Vegas, you can be like, yeah, it was awesome, but
or you can just say drunk.
Yeah, right? But it was tough. And I mean, you know, but Clara Hughes and I went, and if you've heard of the Olympics board, then you've heard of Clara Hughes. So I don't have to introduce her to anybody. And we went so that we can become better ambassadors and better advocates for Right to Play.
What was that experience like?
Oh, it was phenomenal.
Aside from being with him, because he's an awesome guy to travel with.
I know. Every day I was like, let me just touch your arms. I mean, come on. The guy is like, I'm a leg athlete. I kept telling him, I'm like, check out these legs. You got the arms, I got the legs. Let's put you and me together. But it was really magical because I have admired Adam for so long, and he's a friend and a colleague in sport, but I've never spent that amount of time with him, and I just have so much respect for him as a human being, as an athlete, his integrity, and we also have a youth initiative that we're sharing in Mali, and we've raised $100,000 for it already. It's a 3-year program. It's just, it's all about giving back and finding a way to give back and finding a way to shift this struggle in the human condition to a little better place. And yeah.
When you so you know that this is a big part of the second stage of your life now, your public face. Do you have these big plans of what it could be, or what you could do with this?
I've never had plans. I've just always gone with my heart. And I mean, that's what I've done it in everything. In sport, I saw Gaetan Boucher skate in '88, and I was like, I want to go to the Olympics and be a speed skater. And I ended up a bike racer.
Troubled youth at the time, and you were in a big trouble, right? Were you battling other stuff too? Yeah.
I was channeling all this energy I have into really bad places. My mother will attest to that, and she's very grateful that I saw the Olympics that day because it changed my life. I went on to be a bike racer. I didn't even know bike racing was a sport. I was like, Tour de France, what's that? Who's Steve Bauer? That yellow jersey thing? I didn't know anything about it, but a coach told me that I could be good at it. I pursued it and went to the Olympics.
Was it partly that somebody looked at you and you were struggling to find your own voice and someone said you can be good at this? It was somebody believing in you?
It was, and I always had teachers and people that believed in me. Even when I was getting into trouble, they said if only she could channel into something good, and that good happened to be sport.
Stick around. Anthropology with Claire when we come back. Olympic medals in 2 sports. We'll find out something you wish she was better at right after
this. Back home in Winnipeg, this wall of fame pays tribute to a decade of overcoming pain.
It's the Sydney Games. It was such a pleasure putting this together.
Clara's mom, Maureen Hughes, isn't just the curator, she's also the expert on Clara's strength, its source.
She's smiling so hard, you think it's going to break, you know, and it's always been like that. She throws herself right into whatever she's doing, and when she's beaming from inside.
When you're an Olympic athlete and we only see the race, right? We hear about the training, but we see, thanks for CBC Sports Saturday, we get some lead up to it, but what's that embrace like with your mother the first time after you win?
Well, my mom actually has only seen me race in 2 Olympics of the 5 I've been to. And in the Vancouver Olympics, I told her, I'm like, Mom, if you don't come here, this is the last time I'm going to skate. And she'd only seen it on TV because my mom is a caregiver for her mother, my grandmother. And so she felt like she couldn't leave. And that's my mom. She's amazing. My mom gave me everything in my life. Any time I said, hey, I'm thinking about this, or what about that? She found a way to get me involved, and she's the greatest mom on earth.
All right, let's play some anthropology here, ready? What's your go-to song?
Song?
Yeah.
Oh, Aussie, something Aussie, anything.
Regardless, anything after Aussie is the right answer. We know what you're really good at in these sports. What is just something in your daily life that you just suck at? Like, we look at you and go, she's won 1 million medals. What are you bad at?
We need my husband, Peter, here. I suck at Scrabble. Oh, it's not pretty.
Lots of people have frenemies these days, but nobody has a really good old-fashioned archetypal nemesis anymore. Do you have a nemesis in your sport?
Oh, I did in speed skating.
Yeah?
Yeah, German skater Claudia Pechstein. She got the best of me every single time until we were paired together. Last pair, 5,000 meters, Torino Olympics. We saw it in the intro.
Yeah.
Canada.
In that moment when you know this person gets the best of you all the time, do you think, what am I doing to beat this person? Like, what do you start thinking about? How do you beat your nemesis?
You run and you skate and you ride like you are fighting for your life.
What do you do when you retire from, because this is, I assume, like, you can go till clearly you're 51, you say, right? But when you're done your last Olympics in 45, there's nothing else in life that you're going to be able to build towards that'll give you that payoff.
Nothing.
Right.
And you know, the thing that I came closest to was doing a sweat lodge. Last summer, I spent 2 months paddling on the east arm of the Great Slave Lake, and I was in this little village called Lutzoke, and we were invited to do a sweat lodge with the local Aboriginal people. Yeah. And my husband Peter and I went in there, and it was the closest thing I ever felt to that release, the suffering that led to the release. And I was like, oh, I'll have to do this when I quit.
Be careful, it's not a competition there. If you're a sore loser there, it goes badly. Right?
That's true.
You want to make sure you follow this along. Let's Talk Day, that is tomorrow. Lots of different initiatives going on to support mental health through texting and social media. You send a text message and money is raised. Where's the money going? So it goes to this big fund. What happens to that money that people donate?
It is going to so many places, research, development.
Do people apply for the grants to get the money?
Yeah, there's community, there's grassroots community level support. There were so many grants given of $10,000 last year. Today there was a $1 million announcement. First ever anti-stigma chair in the world for research on anti-stigma at Queen's University.
That's so great. You can actually go to letstalk.bell.ca, letstalk.bell.ca, and find out how you can be a part of this conversation as well. Clara Hughes, everybody.